we wanted to hit you with our last defensive ranks. This is going to be overall defensive because we didn't have enough time or, and also the depth at these various positions isn't exactly.
It's not necessarily overall. We're doing, I think I did 4 corners, 4 edges, 2 linebackers, 2 D tackles. So at least we get a little taste of no safeties. Safeties can kindly just exit stage left. It's not a great class for them, and also it's not a perceived valuable position in the NFL right now, as you could see with the offshooting of every safety in the league this offseason.
Yeah, it's so we kind of trimmed down what we were doing on the defensive side for one time, and 2, the fact that the depth of some of these positions, especially in the first round, at some levels is going to be a little bit light for certain roles. So let's start out here with, let me get hit the music, cue the music.
Did you play it?
I did. Cool. First off here, number 4 corner. We're getting into the corners first. Number 4 corner in this NFL draft rankings is Cooper DeJean, corner, Iowa, 6'1", 203 pounds, 21 years old. You have him comped out here to Kendall Fuller. This dude is an athlete. He is versatile. He has some playmaking, ball hawk kind of style with, a lot of these athletic traits and instincts that can really translate to the NFL. 41 tackles in 2023, 2 interceptions, pass breakups. He had 5 this past season. So, he's going to be an explosive athlete that could come in and maybe make an impact, tone setter style. But Scotty, you have him here at number 4.
Chris, I don't know how you didn't roast me for this embarrassing blunder that I made, but that has to be the wrong photo. Because I don't think that's him. Because Chris, that guy's white and plays cornerback.
We haven't had a white corner.
Top 4 corner in the draft. No, get out of here.
The Broncos. So is he on the Broncos radar? Then
might be on the Broncos radar. A rare trait. It's like finding a turkey in your backyard all of a sudden, Chris. And I don't live in an area where turkeys should just be chilling in your backyard.
Anyway, here we go.
Cooper DeJean, white corner, and athletic, explosive, jack of all trades.
I'm like reading his player profile from my notes, and I'm just like, not even looking at the image and thinking to myself, you're like, man, this is the most athletic.
He's an explosive athlete. I don't know if he's great as far as twitchy and change of direction wise. I think that's maybe his one thing he needs to either improve on, or maybe he doesn't. But he can literally play any spot, Chris. He can play outside. He can play slot. You could put him at deep safety, and he'd be fine there. So he's kind of a guy you can move around. He's smart. He's explosive. He's fast. Yeah. I'm just excited for a white corner, guys. Chairman Jason Sehorn. That's literally the only corner people can think of when you think of a white guy. And that might just be because his pants fell off during a game, Chris, while trying to make a tackle.
Spicy.
That was the most memorable thing. Hey, and Jason Sehorn had a decent career for the Giants, but also his pants fell off during a play. What a sucker.
No, Riley
Moss. I couldn't even remember. I was like, I know the Broncos took the white corner from last year, but what was his name?
Quarterback.
Riley Moss it was.
They gave sly love to Riley Moss.
We'll have, obviously the Broncos will be picking Cooper DeJean.
Do we have
12?
All white backfield? Like, should we just make it happen?
To be clear, did Riley Moss play last year though? I feel like he did.
He didn't really get a lot. If he did, he wasn't super impactful. And
which feels racist, Chris. To be honest,
we should.
Can I say that?
I think so.
Reverse racism. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe I can't. And we're canceled.
And yeah.
Roger.
He is coming off, by the way, a broken fibula. So take with that what you will.
So you found out he was white when his pants fell off, and perfect.
I mean,
that was perfect.
We weren't sure for a minute, and then we had unfortunate events. Scotty, aren't you Hispanic?
Very Hispanic. Yeah. Deep Hispanic bloodline.
Yes. I got the Hispanic blood here, Evil, between the two of us.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's a real.
Yeah.
All right, number 3 on our list of corners, we have Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson.
Great.
Wiggins, 6'1", 173, 20 years old. AJ Terrell is the player comp here, Scotty. And Nate Wiggins coming in here. He's also a pretty big elite style athlete. Smooth footwork. Tackles. He had 29 in 2023. 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. He's sticky when it comes to his coverage. He's kind of similar. A lot of the same kind of attributes. Very good ball hawking instincts. It's a verb. That's right. But yeah, good size. I feel like he can be a decent option if you want to slot him in on getting some action right away. But not a bad player here out of Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you start with, well, 2 things that stick out. One's the 40-10, Chris. 4.28 40. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Evil Wiggins is 3rd for you guys. Yes, he is. That's why there's the number 3 in the corner. Try and keep up. Thank you, Evil. Biggest concern here, long and lengthy at 6'1", 173, Chris. That's slight of build. So asking this guy to tackle or asking this guy to match up with like a DK Metcalf sounds problematic for me. I just don't know. Like I have big concerns in that regard. Just not having the girth, Chris. The girth that you need at the position.
I can feel it all the way down in my plum.
But long, fast, can be sticky in coverage like you talked about, but 0 girth. And that's concerning.
He needs the girth.
Yeah, gotta have some girth.
It's spicy.
Yeah. I mean, thicken up a little bit. He's got to have that. Got to bulk up. You know what I'm saying? What if he puts on some weight? Says Dr. J.
That would help.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I mean, maybe it is, but some people, it's just like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you eat. My son, doesn't matter. Dude had a flag football game, and he's coming in at 45 pounds, and he's 7 years old, Chris. He's tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny. Already got a 6-pack because there's just no fat there at all.
Easiest 6-pack he'll ever have. Kids keep themselves in shape nowadays in high school, though, so maybe he can maintain it, But otherwise, Nate Wiggins needs to put on he needs to get some girth. That biggest takeaway, girth. Pretty much.
He played in the ACC, which makes his ceiling mid. I believe the comp to AJ Terrell, he also played in the ACC, and I don't think he's mid. So,
all right. Next,
go to this guy. He didn't play in the ACC. He played tougher competition.
Next up on our corner rankings, Toledo corner Quinion Mitchell. 6 foot, 195 pounds, 22 years old. You have him comped out here to Darius Slay Queen. 41 tackles, 1 interception, 18 pass breakups. He's got that dog in him. He's got the physical and plays with anticipation. He's good sized, and he's going to be our number 2 corner here for the rankings on our defensive side, especially in the corner position.
Yeah. You look at his build, Chris, obviously more girth at 195 instead of 173 at 6 feet tall compared to Nate Wiggins. So he's got the girth. played in that tough MAC conference. So he had, a lot of tough competition he had to go against. No, this dude athletically pops on film. And it followed up. He had a 4.3 340, Chris. So he's got the speed. He was incredibly productive at Toledo. 46 pass breakups at Toledo. That's a lot, Chris. I don't know if you know, but 46 is a very large number, even in a competition that's maybe not the elite of the elite in MAC.
Still got to be good to do it.
But he played against Ohio State, Notre Dame, Illinois, Chris, even Colorado State. He had to face Colorado State, which is about as difficult as it gets, as you know. He's gonna be a first round pick. He's gonna be a top half. He might be quarterback one when all is said and done in this draft. For a guy at Toledo to be slotted this high and people to recognize him, he's a stud. And I would take him. Hey, listen, if he wants to hang around till 32, I'll take him in a second.
I mean, yeah, to get some value for him. Evil, I want you guys to look back at the rankings after the season and see how accurate you actually are.
So,
we
Evil,
actually
to be clear. I'm trying to figure out, like, you hate Nate Wiggins? Is that what it is? Or you really like him? Which is it?
I don't know. But Rec, I don't know if you have last year's rankings that we did, but I feel like we were pretty spot on with a lot of the dudes that we ranked last year. Let's go back. I think I posted all of our rankings last year, Evil. So you'll be able to go see and compare later. Well, at least in retrospect.
Higher, so you like him more than the number 3 overall corner. Okay.
That's fair.
I just don't. I don't love the size. He needs to get bigger for me. It's too small.
Yeah. He did reject some NIL offers to finish his college career in Toledo. So, maybe some character things are going well for him. He's got some good, he just eyes on the prize when it comes to playing ball, right? Bench pressed 225 pounds 21 times, squatted 44, and had top speed of 23.58 miles per hour measured by GPS this summer. So, yeah, he's an athlete, that's for sure. So there you go. Number 2, Quinyon Mitchell. There you go. Next up, number 1 corner on our list, we got Terrion Arnold, corner out of Alabama, 5'11", 189 pounds, 21 years old. Jalen Johnson is the player comp that you have for him right here, Scotty. And he is impressive. 63 tackles in 2023, 5 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, smooth, refined. I mean, he's got what you would want here in a corner, especially in this. I mean, he's probably going to be a first round guy, maybe.
Not debatable, Chris. Corner, there's going to be probably 3 to 4 corners at least that go in the first round of this draft, at minimum. Yeah, corner and edge are going to be the guys you're going to see coming off the board in the first round on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be in that first round. It's going to be very heavy on offense, Chris. About 2/3 of the players taken are going to be offensive side of the ball. But when you look at, I think Arnold and Mitchell and Wiggins, like literally, there's up to 5 guys that I could see going in the first round. One guy we left off this is Arnold's teammate Chris, which I kind of wanted to put him on just because his name's Kool-Aid, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, also from Alabama, it would have been if we put 5 corners on here, he would have been number 5. Terrion Arnold, first of all, went to cornerback U, right? Like Alabama. Chris, you may know a little bit about Alabama corners on your favorite team because it's the only good player you have. So, anyway, he's very versatile. Originally was supposed to be a safety, but he's shut down on both the left and right side. He can play both sides, inside, outside, explosive athlete. Doesn't have the elite speed that we talked about with the last couple guys. I think he was like a 4.5 40, so he's not that long. long range speed over the top isn't what those other two guys have, but what he lacks in that, he's covers with smarts. He's very, very good in zone coverage, which he played a lot at Alabama. Probably the best zone cover corner that we have coming out of this draft for sure. But he doesn't have the elite long speed, so that's probably his one hiccup, along with just being a starter at Alabama for 1 year. But to be honest, there's just so many good corners at Alabama that's not necessarily a knock. 5'11", 189, for me, that's pretty decent size. It's a little skinny, but it's not 173 skinny, Chris.
Yeah, he plays skinny D. He is much girthier. Should we get a girthy ranking? Like, how at a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extra girthy, 1 being skinny. You know, we could always. I
don't know why we wouldn't do that.
Maybe throw your girthy ratings in the chat as we go through each player. Yeah, the only other thing too, he has some notes here that he was grabby in coverage, and I mean, I think discipline can be something he'll need to work on when it comes to the next level, especially against some of the top wide receivers. So, you know, avoiding the penalties, trying to, you know, not get too in on some of these wide receivers. But overall, solid prospect here. All right, next up, we're getting into linebackers. So let's go ahead. Let's cue the music. With the number 2 linebacker on the list, we got here on our draft board, Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M linebacker, 6'2", 230 pounds, 22 years old. You got him player comped out to Jerome Baker on this list. Now, he is finished the season 2023. 12 games played, by the way. Based on 12 games, 84 tackles, 17 tackle for loss, 8 sacks on the season. Super instinctual playmaking, short area quickness. He's an effective blitzer who was often used right up on the line. So he likes to get in on those A gaps and tries to, you know, change things up from that standpoint of getting after the quarterback, especially, you know, given the fact he got 8 sacks, he's finding some success there. But that burst is something you want to kind of hone in on. But Scotty, you have him here, number 2 on this list.
Yeah. We're only doing 2 linebackers. I don't expect a linebacker to go at all in this first round. So maybe starting with the second round, these guys might get slotted in. But not here in the first round. He's Chris, he's long, he's athletic, can really run for a linebacker.
He's girthy.
Sideline to sideline. He's you know, 230 is not huge for a linebacker, but girthier than some of those guys we were talking about, all right? So, yeah, where was I? Where was I? You guys,
I mean,
I don't know why I said the word girth. It's really got the chat out of sorts here. And now I'm out of sorts. Great range, decent in coverage, athletic, long, so that helps in coverage, breaking up some of those passes, and great at, you know, helping out in the run game and going downhill. Weaknesses, probably gets a little undisciplined at times. You know, tries to make a play and gets out of position, or maybe doesn't read the blocking scheme and gets out of sorts there, as he loves to work downhill almost immediately rather than watch the play develop and see where the gap is and fill in that hole. But yeah, overall, pretty nice linebacker. An athlete that if you think you can coach him up, he's going to be really solid for you at the linebacker spot. Yeah,
named SEC All Freshman Team in 2021. So he came right in, made an impact. Started off. Yeah.
Sorry, Tickleman has pointed out there is some girth to him in this photo. Actually,
yeah, he's
there is.
Yeah,
you can see it.
Roger.
Yeah.
Girthy.
Starter as a redshirt sophomore in 2022. Finished the year with 61 tackles, 8 for loss, 5 pass breakups. 5 quarterback hurries, an interception, and a forced fumble.
I'm gonna open up a restaurant that sells weed and donuts. It's gonna be called Glazed and Confused. That's what I call a joint venture. It's gonna be a high-maintenance shop. It should have a pool. It'll give customers the excuse that their eyes were red 'cause there was too much chlorine in the water. Oh, and the Raiders are going to trade down and get Jaden Daniels. Or worst case scenario, Jaden Daniels gets drafted by someone else and refuses to play for them.
Ooh, calling your shots there, P3. About your Raiders making moves, Jaden Daniels. Okay, I see. Appreciate the bits and all the jokes and everything else.
I think they'd be trading up to get Jaden Daniels, to be clear. But
thank you for the bits. All right, next up on our linebacker, our number 1 linebacker, Junior Colson, Michigan linebacker, 6'2",
break it down for us.
238, 21 years old. You have him comped to
Jamming.
I want to jam it. I want to jam it with you. Yeah, this kid is tough, versatile. He makes plays over the field. He's a dependable tackler. He has good instincts. He has a motor, basically. 15 games played, 95 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Physical. He brings just the 3-down player that can contribute from day one. Yeah, former 4-star prospect out of Brentwood, Tennessee, 10th ranked linebacker in his class and number 90 player overall coming out, but played in 14 games, 7 starts as a true freshman in 2021, totaled 61 tackles, which ranks 4th on the team. So, yeah, here he is entering the draft, and he is he's here at number 1 on our linebacker list.
I mean, he's solid to elite in my mind at almost everything you ask of a linebacker. Athleticism, instincts, versatile, can run up, help in the run game. He's aggressive, attacking linebacker, but can also, has the ability to, watch the play happen and kind of address and be in the right spot. He's really good as a blitzer when you ask him to do it, blowing up, offensive linemen or blockers and can get after the quarterback that way. He's reportedly great off the field character guy, leader in the locker room for the national champs this past year. Weaknesses, not a lot, but maybe, if he's asked to play in coverage further and further down the field, he can do so kind of close to the line of scrimmage. But when you ask him to get further and further from the line of scrimmage and drop in coverage, he may not. He's got some work to do there to be able to stay with some of the, if you match him up with the tight end or something like that, or running back out of the backfield. So really, really solid player, great leader, great, almost really good at everything, Chris. So he should be the first linebacker off the board if I was a GM in the draft, which I might be soon.
Hometown says no girth, but
what is that?
Is that a camel?
Is that a camel?
P3. All right, so I got to confess something to y'all. I really don't like college football, LOL, but what team should I root for? UCLA or USC are there, but I don't really like it, LOL. I mean, Evil's saying go for the Vols.
Go Ducks.
If you want to, Ducks, Scotty, or any Buffs maybe. There's some challenges with Colorado colleges, CU, CSU. There's challenges there, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the world is your oyster, though. P3. All right, let's get to the next group of players here.
What about Tijuana Tech?
They're great. Yeah, go with. That's a good option too. Tijuana Tech. I haven't heard them compete recently, but I haven't watched a lot of their games recently. But I'm sure you would be one of their number 1 fans. Next up, let's get it. Let's hit the tackles. The defensive linemen. And with that, the number 2 selection and ranking on our 2024 NFL draft board, Johnny Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois, 6'1", 304 pounds, 21 years old. Geno Atkins is the player comp. This dude is a bulldozer. He's got a motor. He's got that dog. He's got everything. 52 tackles on the season, 8.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. He's just relentless. A redshirt junior and former 3-star prospect out of Clearwater, Florida, ranked 51 on the strong side defensive end in his class. Played all 8 games during his true freshman season in 2020. Became a full-time starter in 2021 as a redshirt freshman when he totaled 50 tackles for 4 for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 QB hurries. I mean, even at a young, early on in his college career, was producing. Scotty.
Yeah, this guy from the inside, Chris, is top tier pass rushing prospect. 7.5 sacks this last season with 8.5 tackles for loss. He's able to get upfield quickly, knife through, and with ability and flash, and really exciting from that vantage point. He's explosive. He's got power. He can hold his line. He's undisciplined as a run defender, Chris. So that's not, if you're drafting him, that's not maybe, at least initially, what you're looking for. He'll get out of assignment or overrun plays in the run game to get, set their team up for failure in that sense. And he's not huge. He's 304, which is plenty big for a D tackle, but the frame at 6'1", not overly tall, so can get a little bit bullied at times. And doesn't have like the long arms or anything like that, which necessarily doesn't require a defensive tackle, but can certainly help. But otherwise, good lateral quickness, good straight line quickness, really good in the pass rushing sector. Probably borderline first round, more likely in my mind, probably a second round guy. With our number 1 guy being a surefire first rounder.
Yeah. Final thing, named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And the Nagurski Trophy finalists. All right, let's get to number 1. With the number 1 ranked defensive tackle on our list in the 2024 NFL Draft, we have Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas, 6 foot, 297, 21 years old, Warren Sapp. The girth factor, throw your girth ratings in there, 1 to 10. The girth factor here is a little bit more substantial. So throw your rankings in. We have, I talked about bulldozer and motor on the last dude. This guy's explosive. Energy pass rusher who he just creates mayhem. 29 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks based off on 14 games. He's just a big time power in that interior rush game. Just nonstop. He fits right in. Played all 12 games, 1 start for Texas his freshman year, and was named honorable mention Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. Finished the season with 15 tackles, 3.5 for loss, 11 pressures, and 2 sacks. Named second team All-American during his breakout junior season in 2023. After starting all 14 games for the Longhorns. Career high 29 tackles is what he finished the year with.
Chris, I like this guy a lot, and he's pretty much consensus top defense tackle in this. But I'm not sure he's not going to be the best defensive player that comes out of this draft.
Woo!
He athletically is just eye-popping, Chris. He's the first defender off the line nonstop. He's explosive. He's powerful. He's quick. He has everything you want from a defensive tackle as far as engaging with the blocker and getting after it and creating chaos in the backfield. He will run through you. He will run over you. He'll run around you. He can do it all, Chris. He could easily be the first defensive player. I don't know that a lot of people are projecting that, but it would make a lot of sense to me if he's the first defensive player off the board. There's a couple other guys that might fall in line with that, but dude's a monster and has unlimited potential, Chris. We're talking a guy, I mean, Warren Sapp's the comp. For those of you that don't remember Warren Sapp, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So
Roger,
I like
Roger.
this guy a lot. Look at him. He's a monster right here. He's the final boss in a game, apparently. So
He's a 9 on the
very
girth
high on
scale.
Byron Murphy. And yeah, we'll see where he goes. Somebody's going to get a legit dude. Next Thursday.
Final boss. 9 on the girth scale. I want Vikings to take him, says Evil. Well, there you go.
See, Evil, we can agree now.
There it is. See?
My man.
All right, there we go. All right, final grouping here. I believe the last 4 are edge rushers, if I'm not mistaken, Scotty, is how you laid it out?
Are not mistaken.
All right, let's get into it. We have our first edge rusher, number 4 edge rusher in the 2024 NFL Draft Rankings. ActionLab Sports. We have Chop Robinson, edge out of Penn State, 6'3", 254, 21 years old, and Trey Hendrickson is the comp. Now, twitchy, explosive edge rusher. I mean, athletic traits, upside through the roof. He's got short area quickness, a nice motor, a lot of upside, 15 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Began his college career in 2021 as a true freshman at Maryland, where he played 13 games, 1 start in that season, and totaled 19 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Total just 4 sacks and 26 pressures in 2023, but ranks as PFF's 4th best edge rusher in the pass rush grade. Take with that what you will on the PFF rankings, but still, we have him here at number 4, Scotty.
I mean, you're going off athletic traits here with Chop and not production, because as you talked about, 4 sacks, didn't really have 15 tackles in 2023, didn't do on the field, maybe, from a numbers vantage point, what you see on tape when you look at the athlete that he is, because he very well, you could easily argue he's the top athlete at the edge position in all of this draft. First step explosion is probably his number 1 trait. He gets off the line very, very quick. Reminds me a little bit of a former Penn State edge, actually, in that mold, Chris, that played for the Chiefs for a long time, in Tamba Hali. But he's a lead off the line. He's a really, really nice prospect. You worry about why there weren't, better results at Penn State, if you will. Played on a really good defense, but 4 sacks, it just seems wild that he couldn't get more. But obviously Penn State's had some success with some of their guys. Micah Parsons didn't have out of this world numbers either at Penn State, and he comes on the scene in Dallas and blows up the league. So I don't think he's quite the Micah Parsons mold, but a really, really athletic freak that if he can put it together, his traits, someone's going to be really, really happy with him in the first round. And all of these guys, by the way, I expect to go in the first round, and potentially more that we're not even covering.
Yeah, I mean, edge rusher, getting after quarterbacks, especially the good ones, it comes at a premium, at least on the defensive side of the football. So you want to take advantage while you can. Get some power, get some strength on the edge, some speed. Maybe get after Mahomes a little bit.
Oh,
just saying. All right, next up, number 3 on our list.
Get it, Chris.
We have Liatu Latu, edge out of UCLA. Did I pronounce that right?
Sure.
Sure, why not? It's Liatu, not Liatu, right? Cuban. 6'4", 259, 23 years old. And then you have a player comp to Whitney Merciless in number 3 overall on our edge ranking. He's explosive. He has really good hand fighting skills, and he just motor. He's got that pass rush talent that you would expect. 49 tackles, 21, and this is all 2023 stats based off of 12 games. 49 tackles, 21 and a half tackles for loss, 13 sacks. Some people have him as one of the best, if not their top edge. There are some questions whether or not he's going to be, healthy, given the fact that he's got some history with some neck injury stuff. But he started all 12 games for the Bruins in 2023, tied for fourth nationally with 13 sacks. Also, the nation's highest graded edge pass rusher per PFF. He entered the transfer portal in late 2021 and joined UCLA for the 2022 season. He played 13 games and led them in tackles for loss that time as well. But Scotty, you got a baller here at number 3.
Yeah, kind of the antithesis a little bit to Chop. He's going to be, obviously had the production, 13 sacks last year at UCLA, caused havoc, 21 and a half tackles for loss, which is an insane number. Good size for the NFL spot, and maybe the best technician from the edge in this draft. Really, really impressive at, an array of pass moves, whether it's inside or outside shoulder. And he's got good bend and hips and flexible hips to get to the quarterback in a hurry. Now, you mentioned, and it's pretty clear what his weakness is, and it could cost. I mean, he could drop out of the first round because of this, Chris. Now, you said some people have him as the top edge in this class, and that on paper is fine if people want to go that route, but had to retire, started his career at Washington, had to basically medically retire due to a neck injury, came back, ended up going back to UCLA, and to his credit, he's been healthy the last 2 years, but that doesn't mean that there's a lot of probably concerns and medicals that you have to go through with this guy, and your doctors probably have to sign off for him to even be on your board. I mean, we just saw some neck issues in the career short with Dallas, with Leighton Vander Esch had to end his career because of neck issues. And we've seen it with other linebackers, especially. It seems to be an issue at that spot. So if he drops, it's going to be because of that, because you got a really, really athletic, or pretty athletic guy, very productive, very technical, that has all the traits to make it in this league and be really successful. But
longevity.
How long is he going to be able to play?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because if you're going to be, if you're saying that you're going to take this guy with a higher pick in the draft, hey, Helv, welcome in. Good to have you, Helv. Thank you for the raid and appreciate that. Hope you had a great stream. Shout out to Helv. Great friend of our stream. Amazing lab rat. And Nux won. All right. There you go. Congrats.
Oh, did they come back to I know they were down 2-1 to Rex Preds.
Congrats. There you go, Helv. One win down. So anyways, yeah, let's get to our number 2. Where, by the way, for all you guys who are coming in, who are new, my name is Chris. This is Scott. We're your host for the ActionLab sports channel. We are going through our final defensive ranks of the NFL draft, since we will not be live this week. So make sure you are making sure to visit our YouTube channel to check out all of the VODs and everything else that we have already done. All right, number 2. We have our number 2 edge, Jared Verse, in the 2024 NFL draft ranking, 6'4", 254, 23 years old. Brandon Graham is the player comp here, and he is solid. He's another solid player that we have. Obviously, we only have 4 here, which means they're all going to be pretty good, but 41 tackles in 2023, 12 and a half tackles for loss, 9 sacks. He's just a combination of power and technique, brings nonstop motor, and he's just always that presence on the defensive side that you always got to keep tabs on, right? Little inconsistent in the run game, but he'll be a 24-year-old rookie. whether or not he's maxed out in his development, we'll find out. But yeah, he's going to be coming in here, and he could potentially, do some nice things in the NFL. Scotty, what do you have on him?
Yeah. Prototypical built edge, kind of started at Florida State as an athlete that they had to kind of figure out the spot, but then he is tailor-made for the edge spot now in the NFL. Another guy that's quick off the line, good burst, good power, puts blockers on their heels immediately. He can, close the gap quick. He's quick. More of a speed rush guy right now. Probably needs to get a little more nuanced in his plan and other, alternative moves to just getting around the edge, especially because he's kind of got average bend, and for weakness wise, he a little bit gets too cut out, too upfield and outside the beyond the pocket and eliminating himself from the plays in general. So that's his weakness, but like really, really good player on obviously a great team at Florida State, and gonna be a first rounder, probably top 20 pick in this draft, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the girth too. Mackie in the chat, who the Texans drafting? Also, are you boys doing the draft spectacular? We are not doing it this year. Scotty and I are both out of town this week, so we will not be live, unfortunately, for it this year. But yeah, it's
sorry, Mackie. What's up, Mackie? How you doing though?
Been a while, Mackie. How you been? Scotty getting deported finally. Yeah.
I'll be back, guys. You can't get rid of me.
No.
As for who the Texans are taking, feels like defense, probably. I don't know who.
Yeah.
Feels like they're pretty set outside of maybe like a offensive lineman on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively they got a couple nice pieces, but need to add to that. So we'll see where they don't have their first round pick. So once you move into that second round, anything is possible,
Anything is possible.
They have a very early second rounder.
Yeah.
Evil, do you think it's a lock that the Vikings trade up? I think if it was the Vikings choice, it would be a lock. I think that's what they want to do. Clearly they want to get their quarterback of the future, and they're positioned, and they have the draft picks to get that done. Of course, there's a wild rumor out there by CTE ESPN, Chris.
CTE ESPN is the leader in sports coverage, by the way.
Yeah, it's almost a done deal that Justin Herbert will be traded to the Minnesota Vikings away from
the Chargers.
From the Chargers. So, do I believe that's happening? Absolutely not. But that's a rumor out there. But yeah, I do think the Vikings do everything they can to move up in this draft to ensure they get whoever their guy is. A lot of talk that it's JJ McCarthy. So we'll see.
Do you know the owner, Evil, of that account? Yeah. Yeah. You just he actually predicted something that was right the other day. I can't remember what it was. It was like last week or something. He was like, "Told y'all, I'm all over this." I'm like, "Oh no, here we go." Giving validation to the nonsense. All right, let's get to our number one defensive rank here at Edge for the NFL 2024 ActionLab Sports Draft Rankings. We have Dallas Turner, Edge out of Alabama, 6'3", 247 pounds, 21 years old, and you got him here to wreck. Calm down. TJ Watts. He finished 2023 based on 14 games played, 53 tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss, 10 sacks. I mean, he totaled 53, 10, and 14 and 5 for loss of 14 games. Loss of over 14 games in 2023, notched 55 pressures, 26 stops, 33% win rate on true pass sets, ranked 9th best among FBS edge rushers with 200 plus snaps. He's just disruptive. He's a playmaker. He's athletic, and he can make a difference on a team. And here we go. Number 1, Dallas Turner, Scotty.
All right, Mackie, to be clear, our player comps are more stylistically. It doesn't mean they're going to reach that potential. So I'm not saying that Dallas Turner is going to be TJ Watt, but stylistically, they kind of fit in the
similar
same
traits.
mold.
Similar traits.
He is an elite athlete, Chris. He's out of Alabama. You know that's going to be the case. Explosive, speed, flexibility, all the things show up on Dallas Turner tape that you want in a elite pass edge rusher. He's not quite to the level of his former teammate that went to your Texans, Mackie, last year with Will Anderson. Doesn't have quite that profile, in my opinion, and didn't show up quite at Alabama in that mold. But there's a lot to like. He's got long arms for those GMs that love the arm length, over 34-inch arms. So he can keep the tackles at a distance, create space, and use that burst that he's got. He's got good body control, can slip blocks, can close on ball carriers in the run game because of that athleticism and speed. There's a lot to like. He's probably just like Verse, he needs to get a little more nuance in his pass rush game. Can be a little too straightforward and predictable in his pass rushing plan, but there's plenty of time to develop that. This dude is a very, very good athlete, and very, very possible that he could be the top defensive player when all is said and done. Now, when we're talking like top 10 of this draft, you might only see one defensive player go in this top 10 at all, Chris. That's how, when you look at it, you're going to have, a lot of people at least think you're going to have 4 QBs and 3 wide receivers in the top 10 alone. So that's 7 of your 10 spots right there. So, and there's some offensive linemen that might sneak in there as well. So it'll be interesting, but this guy comes from Alabama, has the pedigree. We'll see what happens when he's drafted and what he does on Sundays. Evil and Mackie like chop more.
That's fair. I think that in general, you love the fact that he has 3 years of proven production. And, I think that that's a big aspect of just consistency that, is another intangible that always doesn't fall into the, stat book, but it's like, he's got it, right? Like, so you got to like what he brings from that side standpoint. But anyways, there you go. Those are all of our rankings for the defensive side of the ball on the positions that are more impactful that we wanted to talk about a little bit more before this NFL draft coming up this Thursday. Now, again, we will be in our Discord, so we'll be talking about all the picks. I know Scotty will be in Mexico trying to find Wi-Fi so he can see what's going on in the NFL draft. So, make sure you join in on our Discord right there. Also, we're going to post this to our socials, including YouTube. So make sure you click on one of those links, especially the TikTok, the YouTube, especially the YouTube, and go give us a little subscription. It's free, and you get all the alerts every single time we upload videos. So go check that out as well. I'll be uploading our MLB power rankings. But yeah,